Hello there everyone and welcome to a new review on the channel. Today we're looking at another new product that just came out, and that is The Long and Short of It by David Regal. A really interesting piece of magic. It's not really magic, but it's definitely a magical type of effect in the way it's presented. And I do think this is good, but it may have a lot of caveats for some. So let's roll the intro, get straight into the review, and talk about the product. So you decide to stick around, which means you want to learn more about the long and short of it. Now, what is the long and short of it? It's kind of a magic trick disguised as maybe an optical illusion or as a story or any which way you want to spin it. Now, there's a full performance of David Regal performing this at the Magic Castle, readily available on YouTube anywhere. I think it's even in the trailer. I think there's a full performance in the actual trailer of the product. But nonetheless, I'm going to give you a small performance of this as well. But unfortunately, I don't know how well this is going to play with the slate of the camera because I'm not able to have an overhead view or a view that's going to cover everything. So I don't know how well this is going to work on this slate of the camera. But nonetheless, I'll give you a small performance just so that you know what this is. So you introduce some blocks with however story you want to spin it. David Regal does this with kind of an archaeological type of presentation, anything like that. So he presents some red and yellow blocks, and he says that these blocks are color-coded for some of them are short and some of them are long, and they're color-coded for people to know. So of course, when you double them up, you can clearly see the difference in size between the two, right? There's a clear difference in size between the short and the long blocks. But now that you've explained that, you then proceed to talk about the short blocks. And you ask the spectator, the short blocks, they were used for X, Y, Z as you continue in your pattern. And then they will always interrupt you and say, no, those are the long. And you say, no. These are color coded for you to know which are long and short, because these are short and these are long. They're color coded as I explained. Then you proceed to tell them, you can take a look at these, right? You can inspect them. And then someone's going to eventually turn it around and say, no, see, I was right. These are the shorts. These are the short. And so, oh, they are, because I forgot they're not only color-coded, they're also marked for ease of use. My bad, you were right. These are definitely the shorts because these are definitely then the long. So you can, again, that's your second effect. And you tell them, you can mix this up. You don't have to play only with long and short. For example, a short long, of course, logically, is the same size as a short long. On top of that, a long short, again, logically, is the same size as a long short. What's actually interesting is that if you put a short long and a long short, the long short is longer than the short long, which is kind of interesting to think about. What's even more disturbing is that if you put a long short with a short long, which were just a moment ago bigger than these set of cards, are now smaller. So they've, I don't even know how to explain this. It's a bit confusing. But what I really don't understand is what's really confusing is that every single piece of this is the same exact size. And that is a performance of the long and short of it. Not the best performance. Again, I didn't do it with all the patter, with all the audience interaction, but that is just a small run through of what the routine is. Okay, so where do you buy this? How much does it cost? And what do you get? So you can buy this at your favorite magic shops. I think it's pretty much readily available everywhere. I do think it's sold out at most shops right now, and it's maybe on pre-order, or if not, you can definitely check on David Regal's website and maybe get it there. But this will set you back $40 US, and what you get is this. So you get this cardboard box, nothing that impressive, just this cardboard box. On the lid of the cardboard box inside, you get the link to a tutorial video, which is 23 minutes long, and out of those 23 minutes, 11 minutes are just the history and some live performances of David Regal doing this at the Magic Castle. So essentially your tutorial is 12 minutes, And out of those 12 minutes, 5 minutes are shot like you see here. So he's explaining to you the moves, the pattern from the front, and then the last like 4 to 6, 5 minutes, I don't know the exact times, are shot from behind. So like from this angle, like over the shoulder, to see how this would look from your angle and how you have to do everything, because of course you don't want things to be upside down or anything like that. So he also shows you from the other angle. Then you get this really good velvet bag. Now, a lot of magic tricks offer you velvet bags, right? They give you velvet bags, but this one is of the highest quality. It's so soft, it's so good, it's really great. And then of course you get your props, which are these wooden plaquettes, right? Made of wood, hardwood. They're printed with black ink, with borders. You get the 2 sets, and that is all you get. So these are probably gonna last you a lifetime. I don't see them getting ruined or anything. So these will pretty much last you your whole life, right? So that's essentially what you get with your purchase of the long and short of it. Now, let's talk here about first difficulty. Is this effect difficult to perform? And the answer is no, not at all, because this is pretty much self-working. It's not even, like I said, right? I put magic trick in quotations because this is not essentially kind of a magic trick. You make it magical in the performance, but usually this is an optical illusion that you used to see online, that you used to see in some books, in some puzzle cases. It's just an optical illusion. And he spends in the video like 8 minutes out of those 23 minutes just talking to you about the history and how this plot has evolved from being just a optical illusion to a more magical effect. And he goes through different publications of this, different iterations, and how this became, now with his version, a magic trick. And it's really, really interesting. And I think that, you know, if I go on a tangent here, I think that a lot of people are going to write this off because it's not a magic trick. And they're going to be like, oh, everyone knows this is an optical illusion. You know, what's the point? Everyone saw this. Everyone knows about it. But you'd be surprised. I've performed this twice, okay? So I haven't road tested this 100,000 of times. I've just performed it twice. And honestly, I expected the reactions to not be that strong. But the people loved it. They loved it because it's not a trick. It's just something that they watch. And they're like, wait, what's going on? What is this? What's going on? And they loved it. And then when you put all the pieces together and show they're the same size, they're like, what? I think that, you know, a lot of people are going to override this, as I said, because it's not a magic trick and it's just a simple illusion. And that literally the spectator, if they were to examine these pieces and do the trick, they would literally be able to do the trick with no practice, no tutorial video, nothing. But I think you shouldn't write this off because it's great and it gets good reactions, which I wasn't expecting. It really gets some good reactions. As you can see, he did this at the Magic Castle and everyone was laughing and having fun, right? No one was there like, oh, you know, gasping or saying, oh my God, that's the best thing I've ever seen. Everyone was just having fun with this. It's a really good break if you're doing a certain type of show to have this and do this because it just brings a moment of relaxation, a moment of pause, and a moment of fun between everyone because people are going to go with their neighbor thinking like, do you see that? What did he do there? So it's just a really fun effect. Nonetheless, to finish with difficulty, yes, this is easy to perform. As I said, literally, like, if you don't even watch the tutorial video, you can perform this effect. It's self-working, right? It's pretty much self-working, nothing there. The only thing you have to work on is finding a presentation, right? He ends his tutorial by telling you, you know, you don't have to do it the way I do it. There's different avenues. You can use this as a psychological influence. You can use this as a psychic power to see people see differently. You can use this as he uses it, just as arches and explaining it in a kind of architectural type of way, not archaeological, architectural type of way. So, you know, there's different avenues for this and you can spin it however you want. So the only thing that's maybe going to be difficult is going to be for you to write a good script about this and make it entertaining, which is not that hard because it's an entertaining little thing. So now that that's out of the way, what about practicality? Is this practical? Now for this, you're going to need two things. You're going to need this. So all you need is these pieces inside of your velvet bag. So this could definitely fit in a jacket pocket. But then you'll need a table. You cannot do this standing up. You can, in your hands. You need a table for this, okay? So here is where maybe certain people are going to have certain difficulties with this. We're going to talk about this a bit in the where to perform section, but you need a table with some space because these do take a bit of space. So if you're going, for example, at a wedding and the table is crowded with plates, glasses, cutlery, everything like that, you're not going to be performing this, right? So you need a table with space. So definitely you could do this maybe at a bar, at a kind of at an evening with your friends at your house or at their house, or at a casual performance or at a night out, or parlor as he does it, or stage. You can definitely do that in those settings, and it's going to be practical because you have a table and your things. Okay, so I want to talk about where to perform in a bit, but nonetheless, practicality, you just need two things. You need this velvet bag, which is not that big. You can just plug this in your jacket or anywhere, and a table with space. So as long as you can fulfill those two criteria, you can do this effect. Bouncing off that, where to perform, I've already hinted about it. Having a table is not enough. You need a table with some space. As you saw, this took literally the space of my mat, right? I was moving things from here to the corners, everywhere. So you need some space to do this routine. So as I mentioned just before, if you do this at a wedding and the table is covered with things, or at a restaurant where the table is covered with things, then you're not going to be able to do this effect. This is not really a walk around effect. So you're not going to, if you're a walk around magician or a table hopping magician, this is not for you, in my opinion. You're not going to get much opportunity to do this, okay? Because again, to reiterate the last time, you need space on the table to do this. So definitely this is going to be good for parlor or casual performances where you're going to have, and you're going to have space to do this effect. So definitely performance-wise, this will excel at parlor or casual performances or venues where you have control of the table. Okay, so that's what I have to mention about this. So now that we've talked about all of that, let's mention the positives and the negatives. Let's start with the negatives. So negative number one, it's not a negative for me, but it may be a negative for you, so I do want to point it out. One is that this is not a magic trick. So a lot of people are going to be like, I'm paying 40 USD, which is now the price of sometimes some really good magic books where I get like 15 effects that I could do all the time. Yes, this is not a magic trick. Yes, this is more of a kind of puzzle optical illusion, but I do think it's great. Personally, I'm writing up a show for the end of February for something that I'm doing, and this is going in my kind of first section of the show, which is going to be on suggestion and the possibility to influence the audience with their preconceived knowledge of what magic is. And this is definitely going to slot in there because it's going to play on the classic phrase, which is the hand is faster than the eye. And I'm just going to, I won't tell you the whole show and bore you, but this is definitely going in my show, even though it's not a magic trick, because I feel it has a really good purpose. And I feel it has a good purpose in Regal's show as well. It's just a moment to relax and just a moment to have some fun. And maybe for you, you're going to be looking for that, but maybe for some other people, they're not really interested in that. Second of all is practicality of performance venue. You will need, as I've mentioned 1,000 times already, a table with a lot of space. And a lot of people do not have that opportunity to have a table with a lot of space to perform this, because not a lot of people are going to always be parlor magicians. A lot of people are going to be table hopping magicians, and you won't be able to do this in a blink of an eye at any table that you find. So that's the second negative. And the third negative is also maybe for some, the tutorial video, it's really short, and as I mentioned, over half the video is just the history and the performance. So when you're getting this, you can literally not even watch the tutorial. You can pretty much just take it out of the box and do the routine. It's what I did, because I didn't find at the start of the tutorial because it was a bit hidden on the lid. It's not where you expect it to be. So I was like, is there no tutorial? Do I just have to do this myself? Let me go. And I just I watched his performance and I followed along with his performance, and I worked everything out on my own. And then I was like, oh, I'm so dumb. The tutorial is right there. I found it then, and then I was able to do it, find the tutorial and do it. But again, the tutorial isn't not really groundbreaking or anything. Not a negative for me, but I know some people really like longer tutorials that go over everything and give you plenty of ideas. This is not really doing that. However, what are the positives? The positives are the props are top notch. The props are probably going to last you a lifetime. The effect is super, super fun to perform and also super fun to your spectators. It adds a nice break in your show. It's a bit of a lighthearted kind of, just coming together with people laughing, talking with their friends. It's a really nice routine in that regard. Definitely, definitely, definitely. It's also super easy to do. It packs small. Yes, you need a table, but still, you can pretty much put this anywhere you want. You can also include this in your show in pretty much any position. It's not something that you necessarily have to do at the start, at the middle, or at the end. You can pretty much do this where it fits because it's modular and it's fun. Also, the routine has different avenues of performance. So if you're performing a lot of mentalism or a lot of influence type things, you can definitely do this. If you're just someone that does variety magic, so you're doing Rubik's Cubes, you're doing games, you're doing things like that, that will fit perfectly. So it's definitely a modular routine in the way you perform it and the way you present it. So that's all I have to say about the long and short of it. So would I recommend this and what do I rate it? So I recommend this if you're interested about it. If you liked what you saw in Regal's performance, which is a full uncut performance, then definitely this is going to be something you're going to like because it's good quality and it does exactly what you see it does and is going to last you pretty much a lifetime. However, if you weren't impressed or this is not your thing, definitely this is not going to be for you. However, for myself, I do kind of recommend this. I think it's really cool. And if you have a use for it, as I do, it's going to play well. I'm not going to give it a super high mark, but I'm also not going to give it a low mark because I am going to use this, as I said in my show, coming towards the end of February. So I'm giving this an 8.25 on 10. It's good. It does what it's supposed to do, and it does it well. It's a good product, as always, by David Regal. Everything that he puts out is pretty much a smash hit, as with this. And that's all I have to say. So thank you everyone for watching, liking, and subscribing, and I'll see you in my next review. Have a good one. Bye-bye.